Hey everyone, welcome to today's plant video. I did not think that I was gonna have time to record today. It literally took me 30 minutes to pack a plant today. I timed myself. It took me 30 minutes to pack it. That's not even including like printing out the label and taking it to the post office. So I don't know what is in the air today, but I wanted to have some content for you, but I also wanted to like do this project. It's been on my mind for a few weeks and I finally have like taken the first steps to do it. I seen a video on YouTube and I cannot remember whose channel it was on. If I remember at the time that I edit this video, I will link it. But she actually had a Scindapsus exotica, maybe. Like a lot of those like look the same, so it's kind of hard to tell. But she had it planked, or it was shingling, and I was like, oh my gosh. I did not know that those plants shingled. I don't know why I didn't notice that, but like you can kind of tell by looking at the growth patterns. I've been wanting to plank one of mine up. And so I wanted to take a piece of this and put it on a plank because I love a shingling plant. It's really pretty. Like I envision like in my dining room having spaces on the walls where like the plants just like shingle up the wall. Tell me this isn't happening.
Oh, it is.
I don't know what my husband would say or think about that. But like, that's kind of like what I want to do. I thought that I would start it with the plank and then, you know, see how it goes. And then maybe, maybe I can get away with putting some on the wall, but until then we'll do the plank. But I did have a piece of wood that I wanted to use, but now I am no like, I'm an artist, but I'm no artist when it comes to like doing that kind of stuff. But I didn't like the way the raw wood looked, so I decided that I would try like the burning technique where you just like torch it and it like brings out the natural wood grain. But yeah, I probably, if I had to do it over again, I might have put stain. I don't know. I feel like this light wood needs to be darker too. So like, I don't know if you can stain it afterwards or stain it before and then burn it, but for the sake of today's video, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do it here. I'm kind of happy with the way that this looks. Like it definitely looks better than a raw piece of wood. So that's what we're gonna use today. I'm just gonna show you guys how I'm gonna plank up this plant. So let's jump right to it. So I got like 30 minutes. I got 30 minutes of playtime before I have to go pick up the little one. So hopefully we can get this all done in that time span. But like pro tip, have all of your stuff ready for you, which I normally do not do, but today's video, I think I have all of my tools in front of me so that I don't have to like hunt, hopefully. I'm trying to like think in my head if I want to just use this pot or if I want to get a brand new one. Let me look at what, oh no, I turned this around so it's on this side. I have some new pots that I want to use. See, I just thought that I had all of my things in place, but I didn't. All right, so I just got these. Looking at the clock, I got 20 minutes. I just got these new pots in that I'm going to try out that I got from Amazon. I will let you know how I like them. You guys know I like a clear pot. I talked about this in my last video that I posted because these help me not to overwater my plants. If you haven't checked out that video, I will link it for you. I just talk about some of my tips and things that I do to keep from overwatering, and plastic nursery cups is one of them. And I can already tell you that I like this. I was looking for a new 4-inch size pot and it's sturdy. I like it. So maybe this will work. All right, I think it's gonna work. We fit right down in there. You can see, you know, because the rule of thumb is like you don't, when you're using like poles and planks and stuff like that, like you have to use a bigger pot. I mean, there's other things that you can do if you're gonna use like a pot that's like a decorative. You can basically like keep the plank on the outside of the pot, or you put it on the inside. But you definitely want to be like conscious of the size pot that you use in comparison to the root system that you have on your plant, because if you pick a pot that's like massively bigger and you're picking a pot to accommodate the size of the pole and you're not factoring in the space of the pot, I feel like I hope this is making sense, then you run the risk of using a pot that's too big, and so when you go to water the plant, you end up overwatering it because the plant is actually too small for the pot, if that makes sense. So there's a couple different ways that you can do it. I think for me, I think I'm gonna use this because this fits down in here and this is gonna be fine size-wise. So like you could always, if you wanted to use like a fancy pot or something, you can always do it on the outside and then just plant up your pot here and then just maybe find some sort of thing to, like rocks or bricks or something to like hold this in place if you're using a bigger pot, if you're using like a cover pot. I hope that makes sense. But anyways, okay, so let's jump into it because we're on a time crunch. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to attach my plant to my plank because it's a lot easier to just go ahead and do that, and then all you have to do is like set that down into the pot. I'm gonna pick out which plant that I wanna do. I know this is like weird camera angle, like I'm over here and I'm over here, but I'm just trying to, I'm using my phone, and so I want to just make sure that you guys can see it good. So I have one in here that I feel like is already kind of like growing in that shingly type pattern. So I'm going to go with this one. I don't know. I could do that one too. And that one only has that. Okay, yeah, that's the one that's kind of doing more. Oh God, let me move. That one's kind of doing like a viney thing. So I think I'm gonna go with this one because the leaves are bigger. But yeah, that one looks like it wants to shingle too. So I'm just gonna go with this one. I'm just gonna try to carefully take this out of this pot so that I'm only disturbing the one plant. This might work, this might not work. I don't know. I lied. I'm gonna have to take it out. These are cool repurposed cooking pans or whatever. Like I use that for, I'm always trying to find stuff for repurposing so that I don't have to throw it away. All right, so maybe I can just kind of do some of this. I hate to repot the whole thing. I think I'm gonna have to. These guys are in here all together. I think I got it now. There's our girl. Yeah, so you can see she looks nice. She's like ready to shingle. So I'm gonna set her aside. And then I'm gonna pick what side of this plank that I like the most. I think I like this side, so I'm gonna go with this one. I have a few different options of attaching this to the plank. You know, there is your Velcro that is, you know, is actually quite nice. And then I have this green like wire type stuff, and then I also have some twine, and I think aesthetically I'm gonna go with this just because the brown and the brown. It doesn't like tie as tight, like I don't feel like it's as secure as something like this. Until the plant attaches itself to the plank, you kind of have to like help it out a little bit. And so if you don't care like what it looks like, you know, of course you can use any of the ones that you like, but I'm gonna go with the twine, I think, today. So you basically want to make sure that wherever you put your plant, so since I am gonna use the pot, I'm kind of using that as a guide. And then I'm gonna like tuck that down in there just to give myself like an idea. Yeah. So you basically don't want to put your plant on the plank up too high, and then when you go to put it in your pot, you know, you're left with all this exposed root. So keep that in mind when you're attaching it. So I'm gonna actually kind of tuck that down a little bit further down in here. I'm just like eyeballing it, making sure that when I stand back and look at it, that the plant, that this main part down here is below this top lip here. I feel pretty good about where that is at. I'm going to move my pot so that it is not in the way. And I'm just going to tie it on. It's really that easy. So I'm gonna pick a space on here that is kind of in between the nodes that will be okay for me to tie. And you can do it lower or higher, but I've kind of like this like space, like there's a node, there's a node. So I'm picking a space in here, and I may even do another one. I'm not sure. We'll just have to see how well that is attached. I have seen where some people use like box tape, so that works too. And that would be more of like a clearer version or a clearer option. You could probably also even use fishing line. Yeah, you could totally use fishing line. I had to think of like what it was that I was trying to say. And so now I'm going to just like very gently turn this over. I'm just gonna use this so that I'm not like smushing my plant to lay that on. That's one of the things about the twine is I feel like you can't get it as tight as if I was to use like the wire. I'm gonna see how it looks. I may change my mind. I don't know. Yeah, see, it's kind of hard, that twine. Now I'm like wondering, you want the aerial roots, you can kind of see here where the aerial roots are kind of like, you want that to like be able to kiss the board, is the word a lot of people use. So you definitely want to be able to try to get it as close to the board as possible. So I think I'm gonna actually end up using this because this is gonna be a tighter thing. So let's try that and see. I just feel like I can get it snugger. Yeah, like I already feel like that is gonna be way better tightness wise. Yeah, I already like that better. So hopefully it won't take long for it to actually adhere itself, and then you won't have to really worry about using any kind of method to tie it to your plank. Okay, so now that that is on there good, let me go ahead. I might could even like put that on top of that to kind of like hide it a little bit, maybe. I mean, that's always an option too. You could try that. So, okay, so now that that is there, I am going to go ahead and put this baby into her pots. And I'm just going to fill it up with soil. That's pretty much it. So I just like picked this decorative pot to kind of give you an idea of like what it would look like in a pot. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with that. Honestly, like I just can't wait for it to shingle up there because I think those leaves are really gonna be like next to each other, and a lot of this wood will probably even be hidden by the leaves because they'll do this like nice little action here. So it's that easy. It's so easy. And then I think the rule of thumb is that like when you water your plants, also kind of like water the plank or moisten the plank, and that's just again to help the aerial roots attach to the plank. But also when you get those aerial roots, I feel like I'm like squatting, but also when you, let me just sit right here. Also like when you get those aerial roots, you'll want to like nourish them as well with the water. So, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. I like the way it looks. Like it literally took me like, I don't know, like 10 minutes to, you know, put a little heat to the wood and give it some texture and some character. But you could always stain the wood. I really don't think that there's a right or wrong way. You think about plants in nature, especially the vine plants, like they will attach themselves to anything. Like brick walls, I've got some out here on my patio that are vined on this brick wall that we have, and it looks really pretty. So when you can get really creative with it, you can use you know, wood. You can use, I'm sure there's other things that you can use to just kind of help add to the aesthetic of your house. But you know, the plants will thank you for it. I don't think that they're picky. I think as long as the ones that prefer to vine or shingle are allowed to do that, they're going to be happy. It's not necessarily going to be any, you know, you don't have to have like top of the line stuff if it's not what you want to do. If you want your house to look a certain way aesthetically, and that's kind of like the idea that I want to do. I want to have a lot of like naturalness into my foyer area, and so that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing with these. I have another piece of wood that I got from outside that is really pretty and kind of twisty that I want to add some plants to just kind of really bring the outside inside, and just go for this nice like nature aesthetic that I want to have. I do like regular moss poles, don't get me wrong, there's literally nothing wrong with those, but if you just want something different, like I just encourage you to get creative and try some cool things, and tag me if you do it. I would love to see it. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you found value in it, let me know by giving me a thumbs up or sharing me with a friend. And of course, if you want to see any more of my planty stuff and my plant journey, consider subscribing. And I would love to have you along for the ride. Don't forget to give yourself lots of love this week, and of course, buy yourself a plant. I will see you in the next video. Bye.